Hi everyone, this is Kelly and I'm here to do a walkthrough of some decks that I had never seen before. And I don't know how I missed these because if you watch my channel you know that I quite love natural decks with animals, decks with plants, decks with whatever, flora, fauna, which is kind of what this is about. I love natural type decks and I love animal decks. And so I don't know, I've never seen these before. The creator sent this to me for the purpose of review. When I looked at them, I'm like, yes, this is definitely something that I would be interested in. This is something that I would have purchased myself. I'd never seen them before. Apparently she had a customer who said that she needed to contact me about doing a review. A bunch of you may watch this and say, oh yeah, I have this deck, or I've heard of this deck. I missed this deck. So she sent a lovely card. Thank you again, Kelly, from Rebecca. Beautiful lavender card by I guess her company name or her name of her business is Avec. I am sure I'm slaughtering this. Flora Healing Collection, and then it has on the back of it the lavender. It means tranquility. It offers generous healing when life is overwhelming. I'm guessing this is one of the Fauna cards, or one of the Flora cards, if I can speak. But that's really beautiful in card form, so I will actually take a look at those. So again, we have Avec Leve. And it says nature inspired. Rebecca Lefebvre. I'm so sorry, Miss Rebecca. I'm just going to call her Miss Rebecca from here on out. And her website, which I'll put in the description box below. I've already pulled this open and taken a look at one of them because I couldn't resist it. That's how I roll sometimes. So this is a how to use your deck like little pamphlet. I had to go put my glasses on so I could make sure I could read it. I really was interested, when I took a look at her website, I was really interested in the unique experiences that Rebecca brought to why she was creating these decks. So I am going to read this here. Welcome and thank you for being here with me. Over the past 25 years, I have worked with homeless mothers, premature infants, hurting children, individuals dealt unexpected, hard realities, adults with serious, complex illness, and small, medium, and large organizations undergoing significant culture change. My nursing and social work experience has been helpful, but what made any of it possible was objectively listening to their stories, trusting those humans, and respectful collaboration. As a result, the wisdom that has been shared with me has been profound. In honor of their tenacity and bravery, I made a promise to share their stories in hope that others would hear the message and find courage to be present in their own lives before the option no longer existed. I hope these simple, nature-inspired cards help you explore your beliefs, consider what is holding you back, and learn new ways to approach life. So I love that. She has some suggestions. Using it for intention setting with contemplative writing, daily contemplation, intention setting, healing sessions, group therapy retreats, and so forth. There are 3 decks, so we're going to talk about the 3 decks that are there. They just come in 2 different sizes, but there are 3 decks. And the Fauna, Flora, and Fantastic decks can be used individually or all together. Oh. They are designed to explore 3 stages of change. 3 changes of change: awareness, preparation, and action. So the first deck is the Fauna, which are animals and bugs and insects and things of that nature, birds, bugs. I think I even saw coral, like living rock and things like that. So Fauna is about awareness, get inspired, contemplation, and consciousness. Then there is a Flora, which is about preparation, doing your work, exploring your stuff. And then the third deck that is available is Fantastic Beings, which I'm so excited about, because I feel like that would have fairies maybe in it, but maybe not. Maybe just fantastic real beings. We'll see. This is about action, making things happening, get charged, get ignited, get things, actually doing things. So there are 3 decks with 57 cards in each. So they're separate decks, but you can get them in mini deck form, which you know how I feel about mini things. So I'm really excited about the mini decks. Of course, that also allows you to pick and choose the size that you want, and obviously the price point. These are not in boxes and are smaller, so they're going to be cheaper. These are in, really beautiful boxes and larger. We'll compare them so that you can see the difference. But these are adorable because that also makes an amazing travel set, right? So I love the concept behind this, right? And it has, right, let's see. Yeah, so let's do this. Fauna, Flora. So these are the 3 things to do with change. So we have illumination cards, restorative cards, and manifestation cards. Animals, plants, and creatures. So I would love to skip to this, but I'm not going to skip to it. And I'm going to keep this open here. She also works with the 5 elements and has symbols on each of the cards with their ideas of what those will be. Of course, that is very subjective, and it didn't look like it was very obvious or intrusive. So if you see a particular animal from a different elemental standpoint, which it could also shift and change during just depending on the circumstance, you can do so. But I love that elements were thought about in this case. So again, awareness, get inspired, preparation, do your work, and action, make it happen kind of idea with these cards. So let's see. So again, 2 different sizes. We'll compare the sizes. I'm going to go through all these first, and then we'll open these up and compare the sizes of them. I think that's probably going to be the best way to handle it. So obviously you can see all 3 are packaged really beautifully. They will look gorgeous on a shelf. They're kind of color coordinated. Beautiful packaging for sure. They all have 57 cards. I already opened this one up, but they come like this in a sealed up in the box. So that's how, did I put the right one on? Yes. So they have these type of boxes here. I would not pick it up by the lid because that will come off, but as long as you're picking it up by the bottom, you're going to be fine. It's really pretty. The back kind of gives give the gift of illumination. The Fauna inspiration deck is comprised of 57 animals, each ethereally embodied using a unique pen and ink watercolor technique. On the back of the card, inspiring messages accompany each fauna. Filled with poetic metaphor and meaning, the deck combines nature and sentiment, encouraging the reader to find connection and discover their inner wisdom at any time. And so the watercolor and the text are by Rebecca. And the illustrations, the sketch part of the illustrations are by Phoebe Hunt, and that is the same on all of them. So they all have the same sketch, by the same person, watercolored by the same person, written by the same person. So they have that cohesiveness, which is great. So there's that. The paper is amazing for me. It feels like beautiful watercolor paper is what it feels like. It really has an amazing feel to it. I have a feeling it is going to swish, swish, swish. It feels like some of the older decks, like my favorite Il Menegalo decks that have that raw paper feel. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel laminated. It's got a definite bumps to it, but it's not linen. To me, this feels like watercolor paper. It feels like really nice watercolor paper. So I'm guessing it's going to have a great swish, 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 but we're not going to do that yet. Obviously, the corners are rounded, and it does have the text on the back of the cards, which isn't always my favorite. However, two of my favorite decks. One is an animal deck, which is this, oh, is it called? Spirit or animal knowledge. I think it's just animal knowledge cards, and then there's a goddess knowledge cards. I love those. This was the artwork of students said in belay, and it has the text on the back, and I love those two decks. So there's something to be said for not having to go to a guidebook, but have it right here on the back. And the fact of the matter is that I don't lay my cards out like this and then flip them over. So it doesn't really in the long run matter what's on the back. So I quite like that because, again, I don't have to go and look it up. It's just all right there. So that's the setup. Size-wise, here is the lost. Okay, my whole camcorder started to fall. Okay, let's try this again. Sorry, things were falling all over the place. So this regular size deck is about the same width as a standard size tarot deck, but slightly shorter, as you can see there. The small size is smaller than a poker size, and in terms of a bridge size, it's the same width as a bridge size, but again slightly shorter than the bridge size. So hopefully that will kind of give you an idea on size. Let me put things back in their right places so that I don't have loose cards around. So that's the sizing on, see, that's what I don't want to do. Okay, so that's the sizing. So now let's go ahead and zoom in here so you can see these. They're so beautiful. I mean, these are perfect for me. They're borderless, obviously, as you can see. There isn't any backing. Well, there is a back, but it is the text. This is just the main card here. It says Fauna Inspiration, Nature Inspired Illumination Cards. Fauna Inspiration, whether in birth or death, I have shared time, space, and energy with many souls as they have transitioned from one side to the other. These cards were conceived and crafted in honor of the spirits that have passed and those that continue to watch, guide, and connect us. May these fauna inspire and enlighten as they impart objectivity, strength, and clarity. This is their greatest wish. So that's quite beautiful, and it starts right off with the primary card that or image that's on the box and the art card or the title card with the bee. So what you get is you get this beautiful, obviously Phoebe Hunt did this beautiful sketching of a bee, and then Miss Rebecca has come in and watercolored on the sketch, and then written on the back. So, and I did watch a partial interview with her, and I will put a link to that below. Not a partial. I watched an interview with her, and I don't want to slaughter her name. Is it Sadhana? I will put a link to her in the description box there, so that, or the video, so that you can watch it. And it was quite interesting because what I liked is that she really is paying attention to how the animal or the creature behaves in nature to inspire. How can that be used to inspire us in terms of how could we work with that animal? And so that's one of the ways in which I love to work with animal energy, is to look at those nature, how do they act and interact in nature, and so what does that then tell us about their energy? And then also the second part that I then do is then go into the folk tales of those particular animals and creatures, and the combination of those two things can tell you everything you need to know to work with the energy of an animal. So here we have B, a partnership. B is a faithful partner who values hard work, which aids her family. Her actions are nothing short of divine. Bee's dedication to the hive is unparalleled and embodies devout cooperation. She is a modest fauna who strongly believes commitment and humility are golden. Through her example, she encourages us to accept our shortcomings and to embrace the support and love of others. With gentle persistence, Bee nurtures our spirit, rallies our heart, and prompts us to drink from the elixir of life. So that's on the back. I'm going to read a couple of these. I'm going to now, I'll go through some of them. I'll probably pick out my, the animals like bear, wolf, raven, and I think there's a spider in here as well, just to see how those go, or any of that catch my attention. But I just wanted to give you an idea what you have. It gives you some something to tap into, either just with the keyword, or you can go into the text itself, or you can just use your own ideas of what bee means for you. So here we have bee, then we go to bull, very Taurus-y feeling, perseverance. I love this cardinal. I love the loose watercolor wash where the red is bleeding out, like it's not just coloring in the bird. It's a much more of a wash, but with purpose, if that makes sense. With the cardinal, with authenticity, the beautiful dragonfly with the keyword of peace, which is so interesting, right? Because often you'll get maybe transformation. She does talk about, she carries the wisdom of transformation and adaptability. With the wisp of her wings, she showers curiosity, igniting a spirit of inquiry. Dragonfly brings peace in moments of chaos. Lightning bugs. I love to have fireflies in animal decks. Illumination. Look at this fox. I love the wash on this and that bright red that's right there. Ingenuity. Ooh, this almost looks like maybe this would have possibly been some gold watercolor, which is very hard. It's not gold on here, but I just, from scanning a lot of watercolor washes, I feel like maybe that was some gold tones that were in there, but that's really beautiful. I love the background color. Horse for passion. We have lion with leadership. I think I'm gonna do this. I don't know how to do this, so it's easier to. Peacock with triumph. I love the colors there. Love the scorpion. Protection. Snake is gorgeous. I like the animals chosen. Release for snake. We have bat for matrix of self. Let's look at this. Like bat, so much of our being resides in darkness. Iterations and alterations of ourself sit in silence. Pushed aside by lighter energies, these aspects of self wait patiently suspended in time. As Bat awakens and her journey begins, we too explore the twilight. With neutrality, new vibrations unfold. With intention and insight, Bat brings our life's works to us. Revealing hidden gifts, she encourages us to trust our senses and embrace the shadows. In the darkness, light does exist. Gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to do this because I keep doing it. Chickadees I love. These are important bird for me. I have a chickadee. My son's urn has a chickadee on top of it in pottery, or it was hand turned. But chickadees are about tenacity, and I love that she used that keyword for this, because there is such a strength to chickadees. They stand in the cold seasons far longer than other birds, and or all season long. There is a beautiful strength to chickadees, and so that I love that card is there. Here we have the cicada for surrender, the eagle for reverence. I love that. Love the wash on this one. Flamingo with consideration. This would be a hawk, I would assume. Yep, for clarity. A heron for self-reliance. Look at this little owl. Oh, that's adorable. transformation for the owl instead of wisdom. I quite love that. Arrives prior to significant life events. Of course, that is. It's known as a harbinger for sure. So I love this. This is going into transformative energy of the owl versus the traditional, you know, it doesn't mean you can't use wisdom, but I love that she's thinking about these in fresh ways. Here we have Pelican with optimism. I love squirrel cards. With a necessity. Swan with love. And this is interesting. So here we have coral. With community, which I love. There is weakness in arrogant independence. Forsaking one's community can lead to regrettable susceptibility. Coral teaches us to embrace each member of the collective to amplify our individual strength. In solidarity, we find fortitude. Years of false criticism and self-doubt are defeated when we join together. Coral inspires us to lean upon the people we trust. In partnership, we cultivate reassurance. In collaboration, we are confident and prosperous. So I love that coral is here. I'm going to kind of leave this out for a second. Here we have crab for courage. I love the dolphin for pure of heart. I've been working with octopus all year for reveal. That's interesting. Spending nearly every moment in confinement, octopus demonstrates the impressive impact of revelation. He is often found curled up in his cave, plagued by self-preservation and frozen by fear. I'm not sure that the octopus is feeling fear, just he's going about living, you know, how they do, but I can see how this can relate to us. When necessity requires trips outside, he travels in trepidation. Arriving in a moment of uncertainty, octopus explodes with intensity. In his example, we are reminded that revealing oneself requires bravery. In exposure, we are defenseless. We must lend ourselves grace, and I agree with all of this. I just wouldn't put some of those ideas of fear or trepidation on the octopus themselves. I think they're wary and careful of their surroundings and intensely curious, but I do love the synopsis that's there. I feel like the rest of this is really describing us more than an octopus. But we all have our own ideas of those things, right? I love otters with pleasure, energetic and playful in every way. Yes, I love otter energy. Penguins for commitment. We've all seen what was it called? It was that movie that was about the male penguins taking care of the babies. I have very few animal decks with seahorses or chickadees. I have one that I love. And so I love that there's a seahorse. I am obsessed with seahorses. Here we have Sea Star, which I love for sensation. You know, you just see them just feeling with all of those little teeny tiny bits, and they're just feeling and touching everything. I think that's awesome. Here we have a sea turtle for serenity. Yes. Shark. I love shark cards. Resolve, but there's also this sense of waiting. There is this sense of just kind of, you know, just waiting for that moment and then grabbing on and not letting go. So shark energy is great in readings. Here we have stingray for assertiveness. I love humpback whales. Whales for pneuma. Well exemplifies the life-giving spirit within us. I love that. Thanks to whale's graceful grandeur, we are able to ride upon her back as we journey to find meanings well outside of our human understanding. In awe of her presence, we are guided to travel inward in contemplation. As we dive towards the depths, she gently nudges us to explore our creative spirit and find essentia. It seems like all of them seem to be written... No, peacock is he. Nope, there's some he's. Okay, I was going to say, I'm just apparently reading the she ones. Okay, that's good to see. I'm glad there's a mix. Here we have badger, manifestation. Now, this is interesting because I've been talking about badgers because there is a badger in the Oak, Ash, and Thorn tarot, which I am in love with. And I think in there she talks about how Americans' ideas of badgers are very different than UK versions of badgers. I'm also teaching a class and we're reading Watership Down, which has in the section, early in the section, they meet up with what is, it would be a UK badger, and it talks about them being fairly gentle. Mostly they're not going to cause any problems to a rabbit anyways. And so it's just kind of interesting. I keep bumping into badgers lately. While believed to be fiercely protective of his abode, which is how I have always seen them, Badger is actually a very docile and curious animal. Frequently found with his nose to the ground, Badger is adept at thriving in many environments. So yeah, you definitely, in the U.S., and it seems to be a U.S.-UK view of Badger. So I have to get to the bottom of whether badgers in the U.S. are just a different subspecies, you know, it's a little bit different and they are more aggressive, or if that's just an idea that we got stuck in our head. Love this bear card for nurturing. That certainly works with me for bear, because obviously this is one of my main animals. We have bison, or buffalo, sorry, connection. Look at this elephant card. I love every elephant card. Gentleness. Koala with wisdom. Love that. Sacred wisdom. We have elk or moose. Sorry. don't come to me for animal. I don't know why I thought elk, because I really shouldn't have thought that with those horns, but it's all right. Presence, very much huge presence. Love this little mouse. How sweet is that? Confidence. We have puma for action. Look at the rabbit. Abundance for sure. Here we have a stag for vitality. Gorgeous. My wolf is here for instinct. It's always a great day when an animal deck has all of the ones that I are must-haves for me. Here we have a beaver, which I love having in decks. Motivation. Camels are great cards for endurance. Love that. Frog for cleansing. I also use it for healing, and some degree with transformation, losing, like when they eventually drop off their tail as tadpoles, they lose what they no longer need and then move into what's going to serve them now. It's a great animal to work with in transformation and changes. Stunning hummingbird here with reflection. Wilbur. I love pig cards for prosperity. We have a polar bear, which I love for camouflage. Excellent. We have a raccoon for exploration. Gorgeous raven for truth. Here we have a salamander for adaptability. I love this snail. I recently saw an image on Facebook of somebody holding some kind of an African snail that was like literally in their arms like a baby. It was huge and it had the cutest little face I've ever seen. Patience. And then spider, which is something that I work with resourcefulness. And I love that there's a sea turtle, but then there is also the regular turtles. So my son, we've had tortoises and as well as water turtles, and it is very different feeling to them. There is a tenacity that I actually feel about land turtles, that they pick a direction and they go. If you move them, they reroute and they keep going. You move them, they keep going. Like, there is this wonderful watching them. It's really fantastic. And then you have this beautiful different energy with the movement and flow of water turtles. So I actually love that there's both of those in there. So you can see this is like my must-have. Like, these three are my must-have. Obviously, but I'm always thrilled when this is here as well, because I've worked so much with spider in the last few years, and so this makes, you know, a perfect deck for me. Obviously, there's 57 cards, and there are going to be cards that are missing. You know, what everybody wants. But so when I have decks, and I do have a couple decks like this with cards on the back. Ooh, I like, yeah, this feels like the one of my favorite decks is the Neoclassico. It shuffles divinely. It has you. Listen, it's one of this type of raw paper is one of my absolute tactily favorite experiences. Can you hear that? Like, it just shuffles amazing. I love, 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 love. I understand why we need lamination and all that for, you know, things holding up, but there's nothing like this raw paper feel. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly pull 3 just because I'm curious as to what we will get. Snake, stingray, and polar bear. So here we have release energy is what she has titled. Assertiveness, which is so interesting. I'll be interested to go through and read all these. Often on the defense, Stingray teaches us how to be assertive. It is not always necessary to lash out as the aggressor. Instead, she teaches us lessons of strategy and composure. Resting on the bottom, sometimes even under cover, she finds it ever important to take her time. At her own pace, she is able to remain collected when the current pulls her out. Against the tide, she asserts herself with calm resolve. Stingray is a strong guide for those in the midst of chaos. It's gorgeous. Not to mention, she's Moana's grandmother. So come on. So what's interesting is it starts with release, and it is from that energy of releasing that we can find our composure and find our ability to have that calmness and know when to ease and relax into things and when to assert our energy forward, which is beautiful. And then we also have the camouflage with polar bear. There is a lot of strength too. Like his winter and deep silent contemplation, we are able to achieve new insight. That clarity of snow, that working with your environment instead of your environment, which you actually get with both of these, which I think is really beautiful. But it starts with having to release some things first. So beautiful. I love these. I mean, obviously this is like a no-brainer kind of deck for me, so I'm kind of biased towards this type of deck. I really like the animals that were chosen here. I think it's a nice range. I like that there are, of course, some sea creatures in here, land creatures, birds that are there. There are things like snails and scorpions, so you get the insects as well. So I felt like it was a nice blend. And of course, I'm also biased to the fact that it has all 4 of the animals that are important to me in the deck. So that makes me so happy, and I could sit here and shuffle this all day long, but I won't. I'm going to set this back in here for now. I'll try to go, because obviously we are looking at 3 decks, so a lot of cards. So I'm going to try to pick it up, the pace a little bit. The next one that I'm going to look at is Flora, which is about healing. Fauna was inspiration, Flora was healing. So let me get a knife or something to rip this open. Or teeth, you know. Will I mix these together? I don't know. I think I might be inclined to more do like a pull one from each to have sort of that spread across. I'm not sure what I will do. I probably will try it. So here we have the card here. The Flora Healing deck has been lovingly crafted to encourage self-healing. The flowers and plants selected for this deck and the words written about each offer meaningful metaphors to heal the heart, mend the mind, and inspire the spirit. So that's kind of the purpose of this deck. So let's slide back in here. Okay, those are beautiful. Gonna slide it in. Of course, we have the same person doing the sketches and the same person doing the watercolor and the words, so very beautiful in combination. Here we have Arnica. So it gives us the name, the scientific name, the keyword given, quiet rest. I didn't mention this on the animals, but it also gives you the one of the 5 elements, how they associate it with the elements, and then the information. So for example, excuse me, quiet rest, known for its ability to reduce inflammation, Arnica montana offers notable symbolism about how to reduce distress through self-care. Arnica produces perenniating buds at the soil surface to store nutrients and protect its roots while it overwinters. With these protective leaves in place, Arnica is capable of enduring difficult conditions. This flora understands the importance of quiet rest and minimizing insults. By being dormant or quiescent during tempestuous weather, Arnica becomes hardy and robust for years to come. To remain steadfast, what steps can you take to set aside time for yourself, reduce feelings of overwhelm, and quiet the mind? I absolutely love how she has taken the aspects of the plant to inform the oracle support message here. I think that's perfect with plant work, so that's gorgeous. Here we have, I love the, on the tops of these, they have watercolor of the same color tone. Can you see that along the top? They aren't all, I think it's the same wash that she's kind of, you know, photoshopped at the top in different ways, although that one's kind of flipped. So some of them are similar, but they're not all the same, so it gives a variation along the top. That looks really pretty. And then the watercolor for the plant is a little bit more contained than the washes of the animals, but it's quite beautiful. I love it. Okay, just wanted to point that out because I saw it. Bleeding Heart for wise energy. Calla Lily, my mom's favorite flower, for achievement. Chanterelle, so these are mushrooms, which I quite love, for immunity. Yes to Clover for enhancing. I saw there was a dandelion too. Daffodil for self-love. Daisy for variety. My beautiful dandelion's favorite flower ever for become. A flora of composure. I love it. It is said to calm heat and hot emotions, thus fostering a steady state for growth. This is beautiful. Forget-me-nots, carry with you. Foxglove for convincing. Goldenrod to make whole. Calendula for unity. Chamomile for panacea. Chamomile has been considered a panacea, a remedy for all disease. While it is reassuring to believe that one herb has the potential for broad healing, a single cure-all does not exist, nor is there a remedy that can stop the hands of time. We are more likely to flourish with a broad array of tools rather than dependent illusionary antidotes. I love that. Here we have, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Coropsis, perhaps, light-hearted. Crocus for begin, I love that. Dianthus, know your limits. Iris for heart. Milkweed for rescue. Again, I like the mix of these. Ranunculus for purpose. I have not heard of this. In parts of northern Norway, Sweden, and Finland, there is a story of a goddess named Rena Nigeda. Perhaps she is the goddess of spring, the daughter of earth, and has the uncanny ability to coax plants from their winter rest. She encourages them to flourish with the warm rays of the sun. Much like Rana, ranunculus symbolizes new beginnings, optimism, and delight. Love that, bringing in the myth. Sunflower for respond. Violet with awaken. Yucca for channel, I love it. Aloe vera for restore. Again, I like the mix of plants here. Bee balm for center prune. We have cacti here with cactus reserves. Elderberry for relief. Fern for repel. Ginkgo for stability. Hyacinth for waves. Hydrangea with absorb. Lavender with tranquility. I love lavender. I feel like everybody, if you have one herb at your disposal, should be lavender, also peppermint, but I'm biased. Lily for whorl. One of the more meaningful metaphors of these flora can be found in lily's whorl. This pattern of concentric circles repeats across species. We spend most of our lives spinning out of control, hoping we can create rigid straight lines that will bring order to chaos. Life is neither black or white. Most of it is gray. Yes, I agree. I'm looking forward to reading all of these. Sage for cleanse. Yarrow for homeostasis. Cornflower, self-sow. Delphinium for amend or with amend. Garlic with subterranean. Indian pipe, ephemeral. Ooh, this is gorgeous. Juniper for expansiveness. Lotus in the bog is a sacred symbol for many cultures. Yes, so much. Here we have mint with footing. Oh, I love this. Pitcher plant. These are all around where I grew up. Convergent. Poppy for nourishment. Sedum for discomfort. Tulip for attention. Cattails for acceptance. Dong Quai inflorescence. Echinacea, much echinacea has been in my system for possibility. Here we have hibiscus for stages. Holly, that's a gorgeous sketching. Truth. Honeysuckle climb. Oh, like a morning glory. Moonflower unfold. Gorgeous. Orchid symbiosis. Here we have passion flower, seed leaf, rose for heirlooms, trillium self-care, and wisteria for decelerate. So I'm gonna keep going. These are gonna have, obviously it's the same cardstock, everything feels the same. I'll come back with all three of them once we go through the rest of the cards. But I love the different choices. I love that we do have cactus in there. So yeah, it seems like a nice broad amount. I love the way these shuffle. Like I could literally shuffle these all day. These are gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, I'm going to stick these in here for right now. Again, we just have a lot of cards to get through, so I want to try to make this not be too long, but make sure you can see them all. So the last deck, I'm very excited about this, is Fantastic Being. Nature-inspired manifestation card. So I don't know what this is going to be. Oh, I see unicorn. Yes. I was hoping, but then it was something I read was like, maybe it's not fantastical creatures like I'm thinking. Maybe it's just like interesting creatures. Okay, I'm gonna rip this open. Oh, you know, I'm very excited about this because this kind of represents the Fae aspect of nature. So, Fantastic Being, let's see what it says here. Fantastic Being is the third and final deck of the Avec nature-inspired deck series. This deck is written to inspire creativity, ignite your imagination, and manifest your dreams. Okay, so let's see what we have with this one. So, okay, so it has some really cool creatures, right? So here's an anemone letting go. Much like humans in the 21st century, most anemones live a sedentary lifestyle, slowly gliding along the seafloor. So it's going to be some cool creatures. Here we have Halitrophus massi. I have no clue. Crystal clear. Halitrophus mossy is a rare hydrozoan. Aside from a recent discovery in the Midnight Zone, very little information exists about this fantastic being. But one thing is for certain, creatures like this jellyfish living at that depth have made evolutionary sacrifices. Oh, I do love this, that these are like cool. Oh, look at this. Komodo dragon is one of the largest, fiercest, most long-lived creature on Earth. Look at the big foot there. Oh, I love this. As a jackalope. That's pretty awesome. Jackrabbit and antelope. There we go. What is this? Lava star. Yes, lava star is a sun, but it is illuminating and bright when we open the window and allow light in, like renaming the moon Silent Stone or our earth Verdant Orb. Opportunity abounds and tradition fades away, which would otherwise serve to limit you when we drop the old storylines and erase the boxes. So it is no longer the sun, it is the lava star. I'm going to set that aside, see if there's the other ones. Loch Ness Monster, yes, to curiosity. I'm sorry, I got excited and didn't talk about the anemone for letting go. The Halitrophus mossy for crystal clear. Komodo dragon, powerful. Jackalope portmanteau. What can be said? What a boring and uninspiring attitude. With so many options, choices, and possibilities, how could it not be? I love it. Then we have the Loch Ness Monster for curiosity. Ooh, we have a plant. The lotus tree. The ancient root of the lotus tree is the bearer of fruit with the power to lure individuals into lengthy idleness. Lotus tree. Look. The manatee. Also, these are like fantastical. They just are wonderful. Some real and some otherwise. The Ouroboros for infinity. The phoenix for ignite. What is this? Tardigrade defiance. The tardigrade is a prolific Archean life form with nearly 1,300 species on Earth. They defy the boundaries of our carbon-based understanding. See, this is really cool. The baobab. This is a tree, I believe. Yeah, obviously this is a tree. Perspective. Naked and caught without its leaves. The baobab tree looks like it was planted upside down as it reaches for the sky. It's so cool. Here we have blue glacius. At the whim of the sea, this tiny blue dragon makes its way floating upside down as it traverses the ocean. Though buoyant and exposed to the world above, it has acquired unsuspecting defense against the challenges it faces. Immune to the Portuguese man-of-war, the blue glaucus consumes its host and stores the venom for protection. From this, we can learn a lesson or two. Life is exceedingly complicated, but we can thrive despite the odds. Expose your weaknesses and transform them into your greatest strength. That's really cool. Here we have a cedar waxwing. I love this. It just makes this extraordinary. A comet, celestial. So I'm going to put that over here for a minute. Here we have a dragon blood tree. Dracana cinnabari, which is also known as the dragon blood tree, is an endemic species of the Socotra archipelago in the Arabian Sea. She's really trying me there, isn't it? That's gorgeous. Epiphytes such as mosses, orchids, air plants, and bromeliads grow on other plants but do not take from them. Instead they live in harmony with their environment, surviving by acquiring water. And I love this. This is a really cool deck. Aha, fairy, and I love the spelling. Mysticism. We are stardust, we are spirits, we are searching for meaning and connection. It is not without justification we find ourselves taken by the world of fairies, magic, and wonderment. Love it. Here we have a Grude, risk. Thought to originate from Pangaea, Grudea's ancestors may have lived some 425 million years ago. With that much history buttressing this family of cranes, they have faced insurmountable risk over the years. Unlike herons, a similar looking ave, but unrelated. Cranes fly with their necks stretched out. A metaphor of risk, self-trust, and the rewards we gain. Da, 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 da. Very cool. Monarch butterfly, transformation. The moon for attraction. So we have the sun, we have the moon, we have the stars. So we've got comets. So we have some fantastical celestial element. Oh, I love that this is here. An anglerfish, adaptation. Yes to the, there's another name for these. I've seen another name, not like, probably like a nickname. Axel, oh, can I even tell you? You can try to say that yourself. Regeneration. Here we have Fata Morgana, illusion. Not everything is as it appears when you think you could swear by it. Some things are just not right and some things are just not true. Like those hazy water mirages on hot summer days and cargo ships hovering on the horizon. When you discover you have traveled deep into the woods, miles upon miles down a long, winding, and congruous road that has left you empty and torn, stop and recalibrate. Shake it up, turn yourself around, tip everything over and upside down or right side up. Create a path that is true to you. I love that. So interesting. Flying fish, rise above. I love these seahorses. Leafy sea dragons. Here we have a mermaid. Oh, yes, a narwhal. I love it. I love it. I love it. Nautilus for balance. The platypus for evolution. What do we have here? Rainforest. So we have more of a type of environment. Sand dollar, yes. I have many things with my son about that. Willow for grace. That's my tree. Chrysalis, which is such an amazing thing. Cyanobacteria. I'm going to have to read more about that. What do we have here? Gaia. So we have also the green man. So we have sort of goddess and god energy there. We have griffin, be bold. We have horseshoe crab for dig in. Look at that monkey eyes. A langur for leap of faith. We have this is in another deck. I read about this. I can't remember. This is in one other deck that I have, and I thought it was really interesting animal to have. Praying mantis. Oh yes, the sequoia trees. I love it. Sort of a place, the stone circle. Here we have Bigfoot. I love it. Here we have the blue-footed booby. The elements, all, kind of a concept of the elements. We have human beings. I love this deck. Luna moth. The Moya. The stone circled across the Rose City in Jordan, the Citadel at Machu Picchu. It is anyone's guess how I'm not sure how you would say that. I really don't want to slaughter that. Of Rapa Nua were quarried, moved, and placed. As you bravely journey on, embrace the mana of the Moai. I'm going to have to look that up. And spirit of the others. So interesting of a deck. A Pegasus. Wellspring, a scarab, oh yes, a sloth. What is this? The Sphinx. Oh, tree of life, yes. And the unicorn. Okay, I'm going to make some piles here. This deck really makes me happy. This is such an unusual deck. I'll be right back. Okay, I've made some piles. So we have quite the majority of the deck, right, are actual animals or creatures or bacterias that actually live on the planet but are unique in some way, that have sort of something fantastic about them to offer to us to make us think a little bit differently. So that's a good chunk of the deck. We have a nice little handful of folklore, you know, mythical creatures such as the lotus tree, jackalope, the Loch Ness monster, the phoenix, the fairy, mermaids, the griffin, the Bigfoot, Pegasus and unicorns, right? So truly what we would think of as fantastical beings there, right? Then we have the humans, which I guess would go over here in actual creatures, right? We have some celestial cards here with the that's more of a concept of the of that one, so I would say that's a concept. But we have the sun, the moon, the stars, and comets here, kind of celestial cards. We have symbols and concepts a little bit here. We have sort of landmarks and or environments such as the rainforest, standing stone, so on and so forth there, the Sphinx. We have the concept or the symbols of the elements, which would kind of go with the Ouroboros type symbol cards. We have masculine and feminine, divine kind of concepts there. The world tree sort of goes at the top of all of this, right? Or the sequoia, sorry. The sequoia could be, right? No. The tree of life, or the world tree, would sort of inhabit everything conceptually. And then we have willows and sequoia trees thrown in there for good measure. So it's definitely a mix of interesting things to challenge our imagination, to think a little bit outside of the box in some ways. I'm just trying to mix some of this up a little bit here. So it's very interesting deck, right? It's not a combination of cards or types that I've ever seen. It certainly piques my interest. Let's see what we get out of, and again, same cardstock, same gorgeousness. Same 57 cards. So obviously, if there's just a single one of these decks that interests you, versus you know, or this interests you, or you just love working with animals, or you love working with plants. I don't think I would personally probably mix all three of these together. I could definitely see mixing Flora and Fauna together and using this deck separately potentially. I don't know. I'm going to have to play around with this and get back to you on how I end up using it. But this deck just makes me smile. I feel like it could be quite an interesting read, right? So if you're just like, what do I need to hear right now? What do I need to pay attention to? What do I need to hear so that I can sort of get creative and manifest my life, right? Here we have the Fata Morgana, the blue-footed booby, be unique, and the Sphinx here. So let me put this down. So if we take this concept of illusion, making sure that you're aware that not everything is as it seems. I like the end of this because we already read this. To tip everything upside down or right side up, whatever way you need to go, right? Flip it around and create the space. Cut away the illusion and create the space that you want to be. In that, creating your path forward, dare to be different, right? Who cares if you're different? Take your differences and use those. Don't try to just be another version of everybody else. When you're if you're going to take the time to flip your world upside down and create a path forward for yourself, embrace the differences, right? Embrace who you are, what makes you unique. And then we have that feeling the wonder and the reverence of go forward then with this blue-footed, flip my world upside down, just step forward with that energy, and it's going to and be ready to be awe-inspired by the life that you're going to create for yourself. Or the Six of Cups, be willing to look at the world fresh again, be willing to ask those questions, and be, you know, the idea of the Sphinx is such a powerful thing, right? Of being able to go and ask the question. There's just something so awe-inspiring about the Sphinx sphinxes. And so there is that sense of wonder. Who built the sphinxes? What's the magic behind the sphinxes? Be willing to go out into the world and question things. Be inspired. Be in awe of the world around you. And this is our path moving us forward. I'm going to have fun with this deck. I am really excited to just give it a bit of a work through and see how it reads, but it makes me extraordinarily happy. So, you know, if a deck can just make you happy, that is a fantastic place to start, isn't it? So that is a look at the Flora, Fauna, and Fantastic Being decks. Okay, I've come back to take a look at the little card decks. I got so excited by this one, I got off track here. So here's the little version of this deck. Of course, I've already shuffled this deck up. You can see that they do have a little bit of a border on them. Let me see if I can find, you know, one card the same. But that, I probably should have done this. Oh, here it is. So here's the original card, and here's the little mini card. So they have a white border around them, and they're not edged off. They still have the same text on the back that you see. But the front has a little bit of a border there, which of course you could trim off. Yeah, you could trim that up and make it a little borderless deck, and then round the corners like I would use a very small corner rounder and round those up. I would be tempted to do that myself. I might give that a go because it would make them even a smaller, cuter little deck. Same cardstock, really gorgeous. Let me just see if I can riffle shuffle them. I'm guessing so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can you hear that? I would be corner rounding this most likely. I don't particularly like pokey corners, even though this was how decks traditionally were. Even some of my older decks, I will corner round. So I think I would be inclined to go in and trim these up and make them even smaller, and then corner round the edge. I will double check. Like, you definitely want to make sure that these are going to line up to make sure that that's not going to be a problem. But after going through, it looks to me like I could do that. They're really sweet. Because the images are simple, right? You really don't lose a lot by going with the smaller cards. One of the things that I also noticed is that these do have a bit more of a backgroundy feel to them. Not all of them are like that. I guess it's because they're on here to the very, very white. You're seeing the white paper there. Yeah, these are really sweet. So yeah, this is just a smaller version if you wanted to have like a mini version of it, or you want maybe all of the decks, but you want to save on money and you don't care about the size. Too cute. Yeah, I will definitely be trimming mine down and putting little corner rounds on them. But it's super easy because if you can, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but there is definitely a, you know, off-white. The background is off-white, whereas the paper is a bright white. And so in person, you could really see the line of the image versus the white cardstock, and so these would be super easy to trim down and be adorable. So of course, just remember when you do that, because we are not perfect. Now, if you use a special cutter or something, I use scissors, especially something this small. I need a new pair of paper scissors, so I'm not going to do it tonight. And these are so small that you can take a nice one good cut, and that's going to keep the edges somewhat smooth, but you will never have that smooth, you know, side that you get when you don't trim something. So that's something to always keep into mind when you're trimming a deck. But I'm gonna definitely give that a try, because this would be great to take as sort of a travel deck with me. But there you have it. I think these are gorgeous. I'm not sure right away if I will mix these. My thinking is you could do sort of a reading, right? If you had all three of them. Obviously, if you have one of them, you just use it as you would a regular deck that you were doing. But I could definitely see doing a reading here where you are pulling an animal energy, right? Oh, there, we'll just take it at the top with the beautiful wolf. So you start with the animal energy, you shuffle, 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 shuffle till you get that zing. Get your plant energy that's going to be there. Here we have yucca. And then pull your fantastical deck. Oh, or just do an animal and plant if you get the animal and the plant deck. But then what's going to stretch you, right? What's going to push you a little bit outside of the boundaries of things, and then pull a card for that and do sort of a 3-card reading. That interests me probably more than mixing them, because you can think about the soul support, right? Perhaps of the animal energy and the physical support there, or the spirit support, the soul, the physical support, and the that soul support supporting your creativity and your stretching energy here. So, you know, having the spirit support of wolf, listen to your instincts, that path working and tracking that I think of with wolves, finding your path. For your physical support here with the yucca, then this can be this has mastered its brutal environment. This floor stands at the ready to collect morning dew and late afternoon rain. So it's collecting what it is that it needs. Collect the things that you need for your physical self. And then how are you going to expand your creative energy, your soul, by curiosity, by having that spark of curiosity to find out, is the Loch Ness Monster real? You could also do a spread with the titles, right? So if the fauna, or sorry, let me find it correctly here. The fauna cards are for illuminating what it is that you need to be aware of. This is how to restore yourself. I'm so sorry. I'm getting too excited. And then this is how to manifest, right, what it is that you're trying to do. So you could do a 3-card reading like that, where this would be the illumination, what you need to see. This is a restoration, what you need to heal. And this is the manifestation, what do you need to manifest. Bing, bang, boom, right? There you have a really cool reading. So I will be working with right now with that type of thing versus mixing them all together for the moment. But I could certainly see, personally, I could see mixing the plants and the animals together. I guess all of it. This would be a really, I don't want to mix them up. But this would be a really thick deck to throw them all together, but they would overhand shuffle gorgeously. I'm not doing it, even just to test it for you, because I don't want to use it that way right now. But this is really gorgeous. Love the cardstock, love the concepts. The Fantastic Beings just makes me really smile. I think that's something neat and unusual, and I love the mix of plants and animals that are given in the other one. So thank you to Miss Rebecca for letting me take a look at these and showing them to you, so that you can take a peek at them. And I hope that this has been interesting, and I will talk to you all later.